Hello, friends. So we're back, and this is the next chapter in the book Unnecessary Chaos, and this is chapter 8. And the name of this chapter is Why Unnecessary Chaos. So it does not have any time reference to the video, the vision. This was given to me as I was writing the book. So let's get started. Where to begin? I suppose we should begin at the beginning. The miraculous creation of life comes from chaos. The unfathomable creation of worlds comes from chaos. Chaos brings about change in many of its various forms. Any creation, any transformation, any transmutation results from an initial state of a creative, stunning, perfectly orchestrated, necessary chaos. The state of chaos, however, is not a comfortable state for humans, to say the least, because it is not a clearly defined state. It's a state of unlimited possibilities, which sounds amazing. But at the same time, it means it is a journey through darkness, through unknown territories, through twists and turns, and through great and tremendous expansion. While fully immersed in the state of chaos, sometimes, or usually, it doesn't feel like healing and restoration is taking place, or that creation and birth are wonderfully forging forth. In fact, all too often, it feels like complete destruction, utter crumbling, and the dismantling of your own personal life and world as you once knew it to be. And that process can feel very painful and confusing, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. However, after coming through and out of the state of chaos, the entity, you, will be altered in a most significant way. In fact, very often, into a state of newness and unmistakable awareness, great strength, and an untouchable beauty. But only to be re-immersed once again. I'm sure this next statement will come as no surprise to many of you. We are currently in the state of a necessary chaos. We are not at the beginning of it, nor are we at the end of it. We are in the crux of it. We are in the brilliant, raging white flames of transformation, and those flames can get really hot sometimes. All souls that have agreed to incarnate and stay during this moment of perceived time have come here fully aware of what this journey will entail, and have come fully equipped with what they need to endure and overcome every obstacle to the fullness of their own destined path. Even if it doesn't feel that way at various moments, nonetheless, it is truth. I'm going to share a personal experience with you to help you remember how the process of ascension is an ongoing, unraveling, unlearning, and unlearning again and again and again journey of transformation. It is never just a 1 or 2 time experience with an explosive climax and then it's over with. Then, there you stand, brilliantly glowing with a golden halo hovering above your head. No, that's not the process at all. There is no cutting corners in the process of awakening to your true soul essence. So please, do not expect or accept anyone telling you that obvious fairy tale version of it. Here's just one of my many again and again and again journeys of transformation. I woke up instantly one morning from a deep sleep around 4:30 a.m. This is not an uncommon thing for my higher self to jolt me abruptly into a download of information, a meditation, or a specific learning session. This has been the ongoing pattern of communication style for most of my life. Quite frankly, there's never really a dull moment when it comes to ascension or living for that matter. As I was saying, 4:30 a.m., and I'm jolted awake with this question being played in my mind over and over like a song that is set on repeat. Where does my worth come from? That was the question that continued to be spoken loudly in my mind to the point where I had to get out of bed and set out on this quest of finding an answer I believed I already knew, but apparently I didn't. As I got out of bed and drank some lukewarm water that was in a water bottle on my nightstand from the night before, other questions began to pop up in my mind like a rapid fire. What defines worth? Am I actually worthy? Why am I being asked this question? What was I even dreaming about, or where did I travel to in my sleep that would cause me to wake up with such a question fervently penetrating my brain so early in the morning? What in the serious hell is going on? I was pretty sure I had already went through Self-Worth 101, 105, 110, and 115 the last couple of years. So what am I doing in this proverbial class again at 4:30 a.m. nonetheless? Regardless, here I was, in what felt like the middle of the night to me, being prompted to answer a question that I felt was becoming ridiculously redundant. However, the process of elimination was ignited, as it has been a great friend of mine throughout the years. And that day we were going to work side by side until I figured out this question again. So I began asking myself a series of questions that I figured would help me process through this lesson with overwhelming success this time. Does my worth come from my own unique identity as a person? Would I still have worth if I just blended in with everyone else's thoughts and opinions? Does it come from my witty and sometimes quirky sense of humor? If I was unbearably boring or depressing or filled with constant anxiety or have phobias or unable to read or write, would I still have worth? Does it come from the gifts and abilities I've been graced with? Is that my worth? Would I still be worthy if I didn't have any of them? Or if I felt as though I had no gifts, no abilities, nothing to offer? If I didn't have any money to my name, or not one possession at all, would I still be worthy? Does my worth come from what others think of me or define me as? What if one person thinks I'm the most amazing person alive, and another person thinks I'm absolutely worthless? Who is correct? And is my worth dependent upon factors out of my control? I could feel that I wasn't getting any closer to resolving this question properly, and I was beginning to become frustrated. Then a dreadful thought came to my mind. If I can't figure out where my worth comes from with an answer that is satisfying to my higher consciousness within, then maybe I don't really have any worth at all. Maybe none of us do. Obviously, I'm being asked this question again because I still haven't come to the correct answer, right? I felt my heart sink with that possibility. Then my next thought was, what an awful way to abruptly wake me up so that I can come to the hopeless realization that I have no worth. That's a seriously shitty thing to do, and it certainly didn't have to be done at 4:30 a.m. I began feeling like this whole dilemma wasn't going to make for a pleasant day or weekend. I just sat there with that thought swimming around in my mind for a few minutes and feeling how hopeless and horrible it felt. Then suddenly I stood up and decided this was not going to be how this quest ended. I wasn't going to settle for such a doomed outcome, especially when I thought I had already learned that lesson and discovered the answer. Things got real after that. I was on a mission to find the right answer, the answer that I could hold on to forever and never have to be asked that question again. After spending a few hours asking myself what seemed to be hundreds of questions pertaining to my self-worth, and then finally throwing myself on the couch in utter exhaustion, I decided I was just going to breathe this out, meditate a little bit, connect with my higher consciousness, and find that answer from within me instead of trying to figure it out logically in my already weary and spent brain. It was in that moment of finally surrendering my process of elimination and being willing to seek within my own soul that the answer came to me. We determine our own self-worth. Period. And that concludes this video of Chapter 8, Why Unnecessary Chaos. I'm sending you all much love, much light, and lots of activation energy.